Hey friends, thanks for clicking on this video. And you may be wondering why I'm standing in front of a Cholla cactus. Well, having done a few videos on making your own homemade black powder, and having watched several videos on the subject, and knowing the nature of black powder and how dirty it is in shooting, and how we're all looking for that one magic wood to make clean burning powder, such as the powder that Swiss manufacturing does. I know for myself, I don't swab in between shots. In fact, when I go to a rendezvous, I don't clean my rifle until I get back to the camp. So if my trail walk is 20 targets, I shoot 20 targets no matter how dirty the barrel may foul out. I myself, for quite a while, have practiced shooting spit patches, and that seems to suffice. But with all of that being said, I was thinking the other night about using cactus for the wood to make charcoal. Now the interesting thing about the Cholla is as it dies, it actually turns into a wood. Now this particular Cholla is in the process of dying. You can see some of the stems or branches, if you will, right there. But what I've done is I picked up a piece here and I cut it, and as you can see, it is hollow and it is the Cholla. Some people make walking canes out of it. Some people will use these for knife handles. You can kind of see that it's pretty thick. This piece I actually took off of the base, like what would be down here, where it's actually the thickest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break some of this up and I'm going to char it, and then obviously screen it, and we'll do a burn test on it, and we'll see whether this Cholla would actually make a suitable charcoal for black powder. Being a cactus, I suspect it doesn't have any creosote associated with it, such as some varieties of willow. So once again, I'm going to use this as the charcoal for homemade black powder. Now once I do my test, my burn test, then I'm going to spend some time and do some shooting with the black powder that I have made, and show by comparison which ones are really dirty and which ones are fairly clean. I really don't think that this is going to be on the level of Swiss black powder, but hey, unless we try it, we'll never know. So let's get started, and we'll see what the end results are going to be. Okay, there's the Cholla wood. Before I put the lid on it and start charring it, I just kind of wanted to have a little look-see here. One thing that I will note at this point is that if you're going to use Cholla, or better yet, if I'm successful and it burns really clean in your muzzleloader, then I will just go to using Cholla. One thing that I did notice in breaking this up is that I tended to stay near the root ball, because that's where the wood is thickest, it's more dense, and I'm thinking it'll just char a little more evenly. To kind of give you guys an idea of just how dense this wood is, that's the root ball itself. So it's pretty dense. I did have a little bit of a hard time breaking some of this up, but I just kind of wanted to show you what the root ball looks like and just how dense this wood actually is. So I guess I'm gonna put the lid on it, light the fire, and see what happens. Stay tuned. Well, here we are once again. Let's take the lid off and see what we got. Well, it looks like charcoal to me. So let's put it in my 4-inch tube and see how it pulverizes. Well, once again, the willow is on the left and the cholla is on the right. Just going off of memory, I think the cholla is more like the maple. But I guess we'll get it all put in the ball mill and we'll see how it burns after we screen it. Stay tuned. We here at Lane Beaver Trading Company, established for over 3 decades, aim to please. Whether your preferred black powder revolver is of 31 caliber, 36 caliber, or the mighty 44 caliber, we have ample supplies of both pre-lubed and dry wads, also known as gas checks. I will drop a link below in the description box to our Etsy store. Please feel free to message us through our store. Also, be looking for our ad placed in Muzzleloader magazine. While at our Etsy store, also take a few moments to review our other one-of-a-kind handmade items, such as powder measures, knives, pouches, to name just a few. Who knows? You just may find that one item you cannot live without, or that one item that looks better on that special gal in your life than you. Now back to our regularly scheduled video. Well, that's what I've yielded thus far. Looks pretty good. This particular batch, for those of you that are familiar, I'm going to try for the first time a couple of smaller pucks. I'm going to use this as the die, and I made myself a piston yesterday in my wood lathe, and obviously I'm going to put some of the powder in here, insert the piston, and I'm going to compress it first. I'll probably do it with one of those cabinet clamps, and then I'll take and put this in my vise and just see how compacted we can get it. Okay, my first attempt in making a really compressed puck with this cylinder and a hole drilled on the bottom to drive the puck out did not work, because when I unthreaded the cap, the puck was firmly seated in the cap, and even with the hole I couldn't get it out. It just basically broke up. So I went to plan 13B. Now fortunately I had another brass cylinder, and I had made a flat plate, and I started compressing it like this. I have a 6-inch industrial size vise, so I'm actually able to get a lot of pressure per square inch onto the powder. So let me drive this out and we'll see what it looks like. There's the puck, very tightly compressed. So I'm going to let this one and the others that I make, I'm going to probably try to make a half a dozen of them, let them dry for a week, and then break them up and, you know, see if there's any better flash or if it actually performs better. Once again, this is the cholla, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen at this point with the black powder. Well, here's puck number 2, Plan 13B. Seems to be working mighty fine. Okay, just another short interruption here. The first two pucks I actually broke up into bigger pieces and put them back into the ball mill. And all this time, it has not been able to break them up in the ball mill. So they are very strong, even with just using the pressure in the vise, a little bit of a cheater pipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let these dry completely and then pulverize everything at once. So now I'm going to go on and make a ball out of the black powder that I have left so that I can actually screen that. So hopefully by the end of the day we can do a burn test. Okay, just a little bit of fun. What I have in the trough right now is what I scraped out of the pan after I got everything screened off. So I'm just going to kind of see what it'll do, if anything. And bear in mind it's probably still a little damp. Well, for dust, I would say that's pretty quick. And I don't have that typical black powder burn smell. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but that's interesting. But once I get what I've screened dried out, then we'll do a proper test. Okay, we're going to do a quick weight test. I've measured out in my scale 50 grains of 3F GoEx. Dumped it into my scale right here. I'm going to level it up just ever so slightly. And that's our 50 grains of GoEx. Now, by volume, put 50 grains of Cholla black powder. Without spilling it all over the floor. Okay, there's about 50 grains of Cholla. Put that in the scale. And it doesn't come up. No big surprise. Well, let's see here. That's 5. 10. 15. 20. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Well, it's starting to come up at 50, so obviously it's quite a bit lighter. There's 60, 65 cc's, and it's a bit much. So weight to weight, it's quite a bit lighter than the GoEx. So I guess next I'm going to go do the burn test. Okay, there's 20 grains of the 3F Cholla. Just for argument's sake, I'll do what I consider, in my opinion, the improper burn test with the blowtorch. I would say that's pretty quick. Okay, there's the 20 grains of Cholla in the groove. So let's check and see what the burn rate is from this perspective. I would say it's pretty quick. Keep in mind that when this gunpowder is under compression, it's going to react a lot different. A good way to qualify this is take your Pyrodex or your synthetic powders that are usable in your black powder guns. You run out a string of Pyrodex and it's very slow burning because it's a propellant. But when you take that same propellant and put it under compression, it reacts totally different. Now I've got one more test I want to do. I've got some 4F with the Cholla. I just kind of want to see by comparison how quick that is. Alright, here we go. Well, it's 4F. That seems to be pretty quick. Now, once I get those pucks crushed up, corned, as everybody calls it, we will do some shooting in my guns and we'll just see by comparison how dirty or how much cleaner burning these three woods are. Working backwards, we got the Cholla, the cottonwood, and the juniper, and then the willow. So we'll see how this all goes when I get a chance to go shooting. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I don't think I need to mention like and subscribe. If you haven't figured out how YouTube works by now, well then maybe you should be doing something else. Thanks for watching, friends, and I hope you enjoy this series on homemade black powder. It's certainly been fun doing it, and I hope we can all glean and learn something from it. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.